Welcome to Gangland Diaries. Today we delve into the chilling case of Dritan Rexhepi, a criminal mastermind whose cunning and ruthlessness have made him Europe's most wanted man. Born in Albania, Rexhepi's journey into the dark world of organized crime began early, and over the years he's built an empire that spans continents. His story is not just one of crime but also of evasion, as he's managed to slip through the fingers of law enforcement time and time again, leaving a trail of chaos in his wake. Born in Albania during the country's turbulent transition in the early 1990s, Rexhepi quickly found his way into the world of organized crime. By his late teens, he was already involved in criminal activities, and as Albania struggled to rebuild, he seized the opportunity to expand his operations. By the early 2000s, Rexhepi had established himself as a key figure in the European drug trade. Using Albania as a transit point, he orchestrated the smuggling of narcotics from South America and Asia into Western Europe. Despite being known to law enforcement, he remained elusive, always one step ahead. Rexhepi's rise to power was marked by violence. He was linked to numerous assassinations, sending a clear message to those who dared cross him. One of the most notorious incidents was in 2004, when a major drug shipment was intercepted by Italian authorities. In retaliation, several individuals involved were found dead, their bodies showing signs of torture. As Rexhepi's power grew, so did his criminal activities, extending beyond drug trafficking to human trafficking, arms smuggling and money laundering. His network stretched across Europe, making him one of the most dangerous criminals on the continent. But as law enforcement intensified their efforts, cracks began to appear in his once impenetrable operations. As Dritan Rexhepi's criminal empire expanded, law enforcement across Europe began to tighten their net. Authorities from multiple countries collaborated closely, pooling resources and intelligence in a concerted effort to bring him down. However, Rexhepi's ability to evade capture was unparalleled. He employed encrypted communications, frequently changed locations, and surrounded himself with a fiercely loyal inner circle. In 2013, Rexhepi's notoriety reached new heights when he orchestrated a brazen escape from a maximum security prison in Italy. This escape was just one of several throughout his career, including breakouts from prisons in Albania and Belgium. Remarkably, Rexhepi has more prison escapes to his name than the infamous El Chapo. These daring escapes only solidified his reputation as Europe's most wanted man and showcased his resourcefulness and deep connections within the criminal underworld. The jailbreak only intensified the international manhunt. Despite the increased pressure, Rexhepi continued to expand his operations, moving deeper into drug trafficking, human smuggling, and other illicit activities. His extensive network provided him with the protection and resources needed to remain out of reach. Europol and other international law enforcement agencies made capturing Rexhepi a top priority. Traditional methods had proven ineffective, and the authorities knew they needed to innovate. The challenge was immense, but so was the resolve to bring one of Europe's most dangerous criminals to justice. As the manhunt for Dritan Rexhepi intensified, law enforcement agencies began to explore unconventional methods to track him down. Rexhepi, however, continued to operate with near impunity, his network of contacts within the criminal underworld providing him with safe havens and critical information about police movements. This intricate web of alliances made him nearly untouchable. Rexhepi's criminal activities were not confined to one country or region. His operations spanned across Europe, with connections in Albania, Italy, Spain, and beyond. He was not only a key player in the drug trade, but also deeply involved in human trafficking and arms smuggling, making him a significant threat to international security. Even during his imprisonment in Ecuador, Rexhepi managed to coordinate major drug deals from behind bars, further demonstrating his reach and influence. Despite multiple close calls, Rexhepi managed to evade capture, often disappearing just before raids or stings could be executed. By the mid-2010s, the frustration among law enforcement was palpable. Each failed attempt to capture Rexhepi only seemed to bolster his legend. He became a symbol of defiance against law enforcement, a figure who could outmaneuver even the most coordinated international efforts. This not only emboldened his criminal enterprise but also attracted more individuals to his network, drawn by the allure of working with Europe's most wanted man. In response, Europol and other agencies ramped up their efforts, utilizing advanced surveillance techniques and cyber tools to try and penetrate Rexhepi's communication networks. They began to focus on dismantling his support structure, targeting his lieutenants and financial backers in hopes of isolating him. This strategy started to show some results, with several key arrests made. Rexhepi himself remained elusive, always just out of reach. The hunt for Dritan Rexhepi was turning into one of the most extensive and complex operations in modern European law enforcement history. The stakes were higher than ever, as every passing day allowed Rexhepi to further entrench himself and expand his criminal activities. Yet, despite the odds, the determination to capture him and bring him to justice never wavered. As the hunt for Dritan Rexhepi entered its final phase, law enforcement agencies were more determined than ever to bring him to justice. With his network beginning to show cracks and key members being arrested, the pressure on Rexhepi was mounting. Authorities knew that isolating him from his resources and allies was their best chance of finally capturing Europe's most wanted man. Rexhepi, however, was no stranger to such challenges. Even as his closest associates were taken down, he adapted, relying on his deep-rooted connections within various criminal organizations to stay hidden. He continued to move between safe houses, often in remote or heavily guarded locations, and used false identities to evade detection. Despite these precautions, the walls were closing in on Rexhepi. Finally, after years of relentless pursuit, a breakthrough came in November 2023. A tip-off from a former associate, coupled with sophisticated surveillance technology, led to his capture in a dramatic operation by Turkish police in Istanbul. The operation was coordinated with Interpol and other international law enforcement agencies. Rexhepi, who had entered Turkey under a false identity using a Colombian passport, was arrested and now faces extradition to Albania and Italy to answer for his crimes. This arrest marked the end of one of the most intense manhunts in European history and a significant victory for international law enforcement. But even in custody, Rexhepi remained defiant, refusing to cooperate with authorities. His trial would be closely watched by many, as it promised to reveal the inner workings of his criminal empire and the extent of his influence across Europe. The capture of Dritan Rexhepi was a major step in dismantling his network, but it was clear that the fight against organized crime in Europe was far from over. With Dritan Rexhepi finally in custody, the focus shifted to the legal battle that would follow. His arrest had sent shockwaves through the criminal underworld, and law enforcement agencies across Europe were eager to ensure that justice was served. The trial promised to be a landmark event, not only because of Rexhepi's notoriety, but also because of the potential to uncover the vast network of criminals he had operated. The courtroom was packed with journalists, legal experts, and members of the public, all eager to witness the downfall of Europe's most wanted man. As the trial unfolded, prosecutors laid out the full extent of Rexhepi's crimes, from drug trafficking and human smuggling to arms dealing and murder. The evidence was overwhelming, with testimonies from former associates and victims painting a grim picture of a man who had operated with impunity for far too long. Rexhepi, however, remained unrepentant. Throughout the trial, he maintained a stoic demeanor, showing little emotion as the charges were read out. His defense team tried to challenge the prosecution's case, but the weight of the evidence was undeniable. The trial also exposed the depth of corruption within certain sectors that had allowed Rexhepi to operate for so long, leading to further investigations and arrests. After weeks of testimony and deliberation, the jury delivered its verdict guilty on all counts. The sentencing was swift, with Rexhepi receiving multiple life sentences without the possibility of parole. For the families of his victims and the communities affected by his crimes, the verdict was a long-awaited moment of justice. Rexhepi's conviction marked the end of an era in European organized crime. His capture and trial were hailed as a significant victory for law enforcement, showcasing the power of international cooperation in tackling transnational crime. However, it also served as a reminder of the ongoing challenges in the fight against organized crime, with many of Rexhepi's associates still at large and the criminal networks he once controlled continuing to operate. In the aftermath of the trial, European authorities vowed to continue their efforts to dismantle these networks and prevent the rise of another figure like Rexhepi. His story became a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the dangers posed by organized crime and the lengths to which criminals will go to evade justice. The legacy of Dritan Rexhepi, Europe's most wanted man, would live on, but it was one of defeat, a testament to the power of persistence and cooperation in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. Rexhepi capture marked a significant turning point in the fight against organized crime in Europe. His downfall is a powerful reminder that even the most elusive criminals can be brought to justice through relentless determination and global cooperation. Despite his multiple escapes from prisons across Europe, including Albania, Italy, Belgium and Ecuador, where he continued to orchestrate drug deals, Rexhepi's intricate web across continents has been dismantled, proving that no criminal empire is unbreakable. This case also serves as a stark warning to those who believe they can operate outside the law without consequence. Rexhepi's story, once filled with fear and power, has ended in a cold prison cell, and his legacy is one of ultimate defeat. Thank you for watching this episode of Gangland Diaries. If this story captivated you, make sure to like, share and subscribe to our channel. We're committed to bringing you the most compelling and detailed accounts of the world's most notorious figures. Join us next time as we delve into more dark and fascinating tales from the underworld. Until then, stay vigilant and keep exploring the untold stories that shape our world.